Good afternoon, everyone. Curry College Chief Weather Forecaster Joe Shock here. Breaking news, TD7. We talked about it in our last video. What was Invest 90L is now TD7. That's going to move off to the northwest again and become a hurricane. The NHC forecast track follows the European, so that takes care of that for a while. Here's a 99L, and here it is, as you can see here on the satellite imagery, 20% next 48 hours and a 60% over the next 5 days as this continues to move northwest. Now, I'm going to try to do this... see what happens if I do this correctly, because I want to show you the track that I put out last week, last Friday, if this is going to work properly. Alright, thank God this worked. Here's the track that I put out for all these events, systems, events, whatever you want to call them now. Here is, remember I discussed this in the video I did Friday. Here was 99L on Friday. And here is where it is a couple days later, right where the 72 is, right, still to the east of the islands. Now, this Friday, this may be a little too fast, but you get the general idea. Don't worry so much about where I thought this was going to be in time. This could have been a little spaced out better, but the point is that I knew this was going to take the west-northwest track, and by this Friday and Saturday, it's going to be where I thought it was going to be in 8 to 10 days a couple days ago. So this track, I think I have here, was a darn good track for it, regarding the movement of 99L. So remember that track. Let me go back here. Open this. Make sure I got the right image. Open this. And here's the image, and you can see here's where it is now. And here's the spaghetti plots. And I am right in line with the track that I put out on Friday of where this was going to be in about 8 to 10 days. And now that's about 4 or 5 days away, and that's 4 or 5 days in the past. So overall, that was a darn good track I had, I think, regarding where I thought the invest was going to be. And I said also in the video, when it got to this point, there were a lot of questions, and there's still a lot of questions to be answered of what's going to happen when it gets to this point, but we know it's going to develop, and it's going to be potentially a big deal. Here's the Hurricane Wharf on Saturday, the 27th, which I believe is Saturday. And you can see what it has here for Invest 99L. This is moving north here, a little further north than what the European has, and you will take a look at that in just a second. So you can see what the H wharf there has, the Hurricane Wharf. The GFDL looks like this here. Here is 99L. You can see located here north of the islands coming into the eastern Bahamas. Here is the water temperature, and finally I put this map out here, the SST. So anything that gets in here, I mean, look at all that warm water. There's more than enough heat for these systems to work off of, so there's a concern for the western Atlantic for things to get nasty. And 99L is going to be coming in here. You can see all that warm water. Here's the 80-degree line up here, so this is 3, 4, 5 C above normal. So that's more than enough energy for a tropical cyclone. Now, here we go, the European. Here's Sunday. Here's 99L. This is going to be gassed on. That was covered again in the last video. That's going out. But here's 99L Sunday off the 12Z European WMO. Here's Monday coming into Miami as a 997 tropical storm. Here's Tuesday coming by Tampa Bay. Here's Thursday coming in as a major right into Tallahassee, the Bend here of Florida, the Panhandle. And then here's, let me go back, and then it will come up and weaken. But this is a big hit if the European's corrected. This is a very, very big deal if the European gets this or something similar. It's going to be a big deal. If we get a hurricane of this strength, it will be the first major that hit the U.S. in 11 years since Wilmer and Rita back in 2005. So it's been quite some time if we've seen something like this, if this situation or something similar happens. Here's the GFS ensembles. You can see here, not yet catching on to the strength, but again, it's in that area where I had the track for it last week. Here's the Canadian. Canadian doesn't look all that bad to me. And then I believe that's the last image for this. But again, the general idea is that this thing's going to develop, and it's going to develop, I think, very, very quickly. And we've got to see what the pattern's like, because this could either go up the East Coast or this can go into the Gulf. And I think regardless, this is going to be really watched closely. This is the main concern right now, even though Gaston's about to be named. That's, again, not going to impact any land, but this has the potential to impact land over a shorter period. So, again, the tropics are heating up, and I think I'll be doing one more video talking about Fiona a little bit later on this evening. But that's it for now, and thank you for watching.